Imagine you have 1 week left to live. You're in perfect health, in the prime of your life, and yet in less than 7 days, you're going to die. And you know how you'll die. What do? I tell you what I would do. I would do anything and everything I could to avoid it, especially if I knew that my death was going to be the absolute most painful, excruciating death known to man. I tell you, I certainly wouldn't walk into it. If anything, I would run away from it. We call this week Holy Week, which is the last week in the life of Christ. It starts on Palm Sunday and goes till Easter Sunday, but the days of life in this week are 6. These days are recorded for us in the Gospels, and I encourage you to read that. Again, if I knew every detail of my death, I would do anything and everything I could to avoid it, but not so with Jesus. Listen to this. When the days drew near for him to be taken up, he set his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers ahead of him who went and entered a village of the Samaritans to make preparations for him. So you've got to get this. He's getting ready to go to Jerusalem. He's getting ready to be crucified. And he sends people ahead of him to get things ready. Nope, not me. My posse's staying with me. They're going to watch over me. They're going to protect me. They're going to save me from being killed. But not so with Jesus. Think about this. Now, when we know difficulty is coming, when we know a task is tough, or when we need to have a difficult conversation with somebody, what do? We will often ask people to pray for us. In other words, we practice Galatians 6:1, right? Carrying one another's burdens. Now, what we have for us in the Gospels is a record of Jesus' last 3 years of life. In the Gospels, we find these words. My heart is troubled. My soul is consumed with sorrow to the point of death. Now, these words just come shortly before his death, which means that he must have carried this emotional hurt, this emotional torment by himself for most of his life. You see, he was not recently informed about his death or how he would die. He's known about it the whole time. In Mark 10:45, he says that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life. And those were his words. And his words were also this: I must journey today, tomorrow, and the day following, for it cannot be that a prophet, or it cannot be that I should perish outside of Jerusalem. For him, Jerusalem meant one thing: certain death by crucifixion. Not a quiet death like passing in your sleep, but something much more gruesome, much more painful than that. And he knew it. As a matter of fact, just a few chapters later, we're told that he was going to be delivered to the Gentiles, to be mocked, insulted, spit upon, flogged, and killed. Yet he still went. And according to John, he went willingly. Now, the only way to explain how he was able to follow through with this is love. John tells us that greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. And that's exactly what he did. That is the unconditional love of Christ. That means total acceptance of you and me despite our actions and attitudes. But his love does have conditions, which means that he doesn't tolerate sin, disobedience, or hostility towards him. So on the screen now is a video which explains this love in greater detail. Be sure to watch that next. God bless.